This is Yupin stock trend prediction channel. So in this video, I will predict some kind of the AAPL, the Apple stock trend, the maximum value and the minimum value for the next week, September 13th to September 17th. So just stay tuned and watch the whole video, so don't miss this opportunity. So let's go to the AAPL stock. So this is the AAPL, and this is a weekly chart. And you see this is the AAPL weekly chart, and this is the AAPL daily chart. So right now I'm using the best U model. So I have basically two different type of models. One is the best U prediction model. So it's a more dynamic model that can mimic the actual stock price changes, and also predict the maximum value and the minimum value, the trend lines, just like this trend lines, yellow trend lines, that's a kind of a resistance trend line, and this blue trend lines, that's a kind of support trend lines. So it's mimic the simulate the stock price, and basically it's based on the real-time stock data. So another type of prediction model is a predict model. So basically that model will predict the maximum value and the minimum value that will directly print out the estimated predicted model for the future, for the next week or next daily or some next time frame. So this based U model is also a kind of a prediction model. Once the first couple of data points are already available, and then the maximum value of the minimum value of the next kind of a time frame, like next week, the coming week, will also be generated. So today is just the weekend. So basically this is the last week's data. The closing value is around this kind of low trend lines. So the low trend lines, and you see the daily chart, there's a big decrease of the stock price from the last Friday. That's a daily chart. So you see this daily chart, the closing price is still not approaching this minimum value trend line yet. So it still have a kind of a momentum to reach the minimum value. So so that means it will have some kind of continuous drop in the early next week. And you can see this kind of trend from this predict model better. So you see this is a daily chart, AAPL daily chart, and this is the AAPL weekly chart. So you see this daily chart, that's last Friday's data, and you can see from this model, and this closing price is dropped much lower than the minimum value of this trend line predicted by this predict model, and that means that's a very bad sign. That means it has a very high momentum to drop the stock price. And you can also see from this weekly chart, that's a weekly chart for AAPL based on the predictor model, and this closing price already dropped to another band below this kind of a blue trend lines. So it's already dropped to another band. So based on this kind of a trend, the coming week, from the September 13th, in the next week, in the coming week. So the stock APL, the Apple price will have some kind of a continuous drop or decrease in early next week, and it's a kind of oscillation or fluctuation range will be located in this kind of range. So it's a kind of 150.74, kind of 150.8 to this kind of value, about 146.9 It's basically 147. So if it has much higher momentum to drop the price around this 146. So actually, if it drops to this kind of a low price region, it's a kind of a good time to buy the Apple stock. So it has a good trend to start to rebound. But next week we'll have some kind of momentum to still have another type of decreasing price. So because only the purpose is trying to find the best time to buy the stock at the low price region or like a minimum price, and sell the stock at the maximum price. So during this kind of a period of time, so pay attention to that kind of a change. So that could imply a potential good time to buy the stock. So stay tuned. So if you are interested in this kind of a stock market analysis, continue to watch Yupin stock trend prediction video, or subscribe the Yupin stock trend prediction channel.